episode 2 of the podcast. Thank you for joining me again. It's Heba here. This is the second of a 3-part series. If you've watched the first one, then this will be a second, and there will be one more on this particular topic. In the last segment, I mentioned the reason we come here is to unite our 24 shields, to literally put ourselves together again by establishing that alignment and at-one-ment of the mind, heart, soul, and higher soul codes. And one of the things that we're still discovering is learning how to connect with the higher soul codes and how to find that alignment and align ourselves with the universal shield. Fortunately, we have been given the how and the what. It's all become a part of what the Galactic Science movement is about, the freedom teachings, Melchizedek, cloister, emerald order teachings. And so if you resonate with this, that's precisely what I'm doing today, is elaborating on those very big and important topics. So first, before we begin to activate, it is really important to learn about the cycles of time. We call these the Yuga cycles. So I'll do my best to try and explain these cycles. It's not always easy. It took me a while to sort of grasp the concept completely, and I'm still learning new things all the time. But really interesting topic, and just so much has been going on lately that I think there's a lot of confusion around what cycle we're in right now. So if you look at the Sanskrit texts, the Yuga cycles are defined completely different to what Ashayana Deane in the freedom teachings elaborates on. But nevertheless, I think it's important to use your own discernment in reaching a conclusion, and that just go with that. For me personally, I resonate with this information, with this body of knowledge, much more than any other body of knowledge, and I've come to realize that it's really very, very impossible to actually doubt this information, because it's just so aligned with one's soul code and soul purpose, soul mission, and truth. And it's not something that you would come across every day, and then let alone ask too many questions and have a lot of skepticism about. It's in fact the other way around. Is a lot of people say that when they hear this knowledge for the first time, it triggers something in them and they instantly awaken to the truth, and they just want to continue with the process of unfolding that goes with it. So to talk about the Yugas, it's also goes hand in hand with knowing our part on this incarnational journey. So I'll be talking about the incarnational journey that fits into the Yuga cycles as well. If you're not sure what Yugas are, the Yugas are literally time cycles, and how they work is they're actually pulsation rhythms. So that's like they're called particle phasing rhythms. So it's like, if you want to try and imagine this, if you're a visual person, visualize this as a flickering on and off, like those party string lights. They have certain sequences, or like Christmas tree lights. They go on and off at different times. That's called the phasing part. So they flash on and off, and they give the illusion of like, a time continuum, like a linear progression through time. But really, it's just the flashing on and on. And the flash on form spiral gives the illusion of movement. So it's like, they're walking, or they're doing a dance or some sort, but that's just the phasing of the particles. And that's just when they go on. It's all happening now, and it's not happening in different phases. And so we all exist on many dimensional levels at once, experiencing creation, as it were, differently, according to our level of frequency. The level that you accrete the most frequency is the one that you'll draw all the others into the experience of it, all your other shields. all of it is appearing real, but as far as time is concerned, it's an illusion, and space and movement also are illusions of time. Unless you're in it, then it feels real. But if you step out of it, it feels like, okay, that's not real. I can see that now. And so when you step outside of that time illusion, the illusion becomes apparent. Okay, so back to the example of the string light, it appears like there's a movement when they flash on, but what's happening is the illusion of movement because of the position of the bulb and the bulbs and the rapid on and off. This is what the pulsation is. And so as far as the Yuga cycles go, there is a mathematical formula to track these Yuga cycles. If you know the formula, you could actually work out what time cycle you're in, and you can work out the rest of the cycles within that energy matrix. Every 26,556 years, the stellar activation cycle takes place. It's not 29,900 and something that they tell us in the Hindu scriptures. It's 26,556. This is the correct time for the organic timeline, for the true time, not the one that's been, following the configuration of the poison apple and the Earth's shift. So 26,556 is one stellar activation cycle. And if we know that number, we can actually work out all the other time cycles. We can calculate them up and across. So our solar planets have been harmed because they've been, as you know, they've been plugged into the beast. I explained that in my first, in the first segment. But like I said, there is a mathematical formula to track those Yuga cycles. And if you know them, you'd be able to work out everything that happened from that point. And we can, but like I said, just to speak a little bit to the false ascension or the false timeline, this is like a 600 years behind. So it's 25,000 something, 900 something, 1,000-year cycle. And this is related to the equinox cycles. It's called the precession of the equinoxes. It runs on the false Mayan timeline, the Fibonacci, and needless to say, does not align to the point 12 and 6 position on the cosmic clock. So if you see 12 up here, 6 down here, it's not quite aligned to that alignment. So when you try and align with like Lionsgate 8-8 and whatever, they're not the true alignment gates. You're just aligning to Abaddon, the hell matrix or the dark, the phantom matrix, because it's not the correct organic timeline. It's not the right cosmic clock. The right cosmic clock is 600 years ahead. So it's where the south and north are correctly aligned with the sun's axis. In other words, right now you, if you are on the true ascension timeline, you're actually 600 years ahead, and if you're not, you're 600 years behind. So yeah, I just want to mention here a personal observation. I noticed people who are slowly coming back into the organic Christic timeline and the natural cycles that can actually foresee the future, which I said before is not the future as a linear time progression, but a frequency. Okay, so this observation is based on also personal experience through dream state. I almost daily see what will happen in the next day. Of course, it's all happening now. It's almost like that part of me that's connected to my higher energy centers is becoming increasingly active and connected, that I can pull that energy into my reality field here, into this reality field here, and interpret them and know things ahead. So it's sort of like that. I think that's just a personal observation. I think people who say that they channel, they're not aligned to the Christic spiral. They're channeling from the black hole matrix, where they're being fed information that is actually pulling them out of alignment more and more as time goes on. So instead of the proper accretion of their Kirashe frequency, they're actually opening their fields up to reversal currents, and that translates to misinformation. So they're giving misinformation. Some know it, some don't know it. And without naming names, observe how many out there that are so-called channelers in the New Age movement. It's astounding. It's a growing number, which really means one thing, that the narrative is really working and that these people are not waking up. Because if they were, there would be less and less channelers out there. So our solar planets have actually been harmed because we've been plugged into the beast. As stated before, time is happening now. It's an illusion. Unless you are in it, then it feels real. It feels so real. When you're outside of the time constraints, the illusion becomes apparent. When we manifested here in the flesh, we actually pass through the arcs in all times for the whole 317 billion years, because we had to pass through the arcs of time to get here. But it all happened simultaneously. Mind-boggling stuff. Yourself in the higher realm is yourself right now, interacting and experiencing life differently, but simultaneously. So for all three-dimensional minds, for the three-dimensional mind, we need to understand this in terms of the cycle of times, but we need to make it easier for ourselves to understand it. That's why we need to understand it in a linear fashion. So when we manifested here in the flesh, we had to pass, like I said, through the arcs in times for 317 billion years. Like I said, your higher self is already there interacting with you, but at some point when we went the other way, we severed that relationship with the higher self, so we feel very disconnected right now. And Sun and Earth, if compromised, it will pull down the whole structure because of the position of the Kathara map in relation to the galactic and universal. So we need to understand how these cycles work so that we can come back into alignment and make sure that we are not compromising our position or the sun's or the earth's, which is sometimes may feel like it's out of our personal reach, but not when you have a complete template and you activate it. You can actually you can mitigate a lot of that destruction. So we're walking portals, like I said, we're healing thousands of people each time one indigo template is activated, fully activated. So Yugas is a little more on Yugas. Yugas is like riding the arcs into specific time fields. So they're like, the arcs are like tubes of light. They're not future or past in the linear fashion. They're like stamps, okay, existing within longitude and latitude lines of the galaxy, the cosmos, and the grand cosmic structure. Just like we do astral projecting, when a part of the consciousness anatomy takes a ride on the arcs and shifts by changing its angular rotation or spin of its particles. It's like riding a car, going this way and that way and through lanes and around curves, up hills and down hills. But the thing is, you're not in the car, you're moving the car with a remote control. So you're in one position and you're maneuvering and creating this whole illusion of movement within the time matrix, time-space matrix. So in essence, you're experiencing everything at the same time from one fixed location, but you're moving through them and in your consciousness only, and that's giving you the illusion that it's a progressive time, like it's linear. Yugas are fixed fields with fixed time stamps that we can revisit. So if you align yourself with our remote control car, we can do that by shifting the angular rotational spin and then astral project ourselves there. So at some point in a future timeline, we get to bring our physical bodies too, so we experience those time fields. If you were to stand outside of the time space, you will see a vast field of flashing on and off frequencies everywhere. And it's how the universe operates. So there is no linear time. We observe time as linear because time is linked to movement. We perceive the world moving and turning and twirling and spiraling, but in fact, it's flashing on and off, giving the illusion of time, giving the illusion of movement. And time becomes relevant because it will help us determine how far we've come. The name Voyages, by the way, is in reference to the voyage through the Omni universe with our bodies, which means technically what it is, it's activating the DNA strands, activating Merkaba, learning techniques for the correct activation, speed, rotation, etc., manifesting and demanifesting at will. And we're actually doing this all the time. We do it through, when we sleep, we demanifest. We're unaware we're doing it because we're trapped in the cycle of time. And so this becomes the core work of what the Freedom Teachings expounds on. Again, if you want to learn more about the activation of the organic Merkaba, is to go to the video on our YouTube channel called Merkaba Techniques. To speak to the incarnations, so what then becomes of our shields and 12 incarnational cycles? The arcs go on certain placements on the globe and the universe, and they correspond, each arc will correspond to a universal gate, and this will represent one full 12 cycle of incarnations. When we come into the matrix, you have a minimum of 2 times 12 incarnations that you have to finish before you can get back out, because you become stuck in that cycle of time. And so 12 times 2 is because the particle universe and the anti-particle universe, that makes it a total of 24. And if you want to get out early and not have to finish the 24 cycles, then the other option is to ride the arc. Like I said in my first segment, the Yanis are teaching us how to ride the arcs, but we do have to activate our Merkabas to ride the arcs. We have to activate the organic Merkabas and not be deceived by the 55 phase-locked Merkaba. So there are 12 codes that go with the Particum, which is a feminine magnetic universe, and there are 12 that go with the Partic-A universe, which is a masculine electrical. And they not only hold the codes for the base 12 human template, they also hold the Iani coding and all the arcs all the way up to the Eka levels. So what's significant about this time we're living in right now is we have been given the codes now to exit the time cycle. We don't have to be stuck in a reincarnational loop anymore. The Earth's tilt of 23.5 degrees is keeping the Earth time stuck, so to speak. So we're not able to finish the whole time cycle to get out and finish the 12 times 2 incarnations, which is the finishing the whole 12 times 2 incarnations. This is called an Yuga. And 6 of those Yugas equate to 1 Yuga. So yeah, it's grand, it's huge to think of it that way in terms of linear time. but it's only a blink of an eye on a big cosmic scale. So it's not like a big chunk of time. It just feels like, just a little, just a happening on this time space, and it just happens and manifests there all at the same time. And this time right now, only a quarter of the planet, so 1/4 of the planet's grid, accreted to the frequency level required to ascend to the next density level. So from the planetary spiral, riding the wave of the galactic spiral, which is density 2. At the end of one Yuga, there is a potential to leap into the next density level through a 90-degree shift, which normally is 45, because 45 corresponds to a subharmonic shift, but the 90-degree is a density shift. So we go from density to density, and whole new density altogether. This is huge. This is a big leap in time space, if you like. And we're going through that right now. So if a quarter of the planet's grids will make the ascension, that is one Yuga. 3 more on top of that is needed to make the whole planetary body pass the void and into the next density level. Not just a quarter of it, but the whole planet. So when a quarter accrete to the maximum capacity, the frequency required, and can no longer take any more frequency, this is when the whole planetary body shifts together to the next density level. So that's the whole planet, instead of just portions of it that we call ascension Earth right now. So right now we're in that quarter phase or quarter stage where we only have 25% of the grids that have the accretion or frequency required to make it through the leap. We need 4 more Yuga cycles to accrete the full planet's potential frequency so that it can leap to the whole planet can leap to the whole next density level. Which means the rest of those who will not be making it through will need to repeat the Yuga cycle, which is another 26,556 year cycle, and wait for the next round of ascension gate to open through the sun portal. And this is why I believe they're attempting to destabilize and destroy our sun, and that is to stop our ascension, because they know it's the portal to ascension. And so just to sum this bit up, is 4 Yugas or Yugas and 45-degree shifts make a 180-degree planetary shift, and that's equal to 144 continuums. They're just time cycles. And those who really are good with mathematics, they can work it out and work out where we are and how many more have we got, and work out all these things. I'm just content to know this much personally. But if you want to know more, there's you can just go into the Yuga Cycle workshop, or get the material and really get down to the nitty-gritty of it all and work it out for yourself. Now, 2 Yugas is a full 360-degree shift, and that's called an Ayana cycle. This is where the word Ayana is attributed to the Ayana cycle, because they've completed the Ayana cycle. This is where it gets really mind-boggling. So, to get out of the time matrix, we need to complete 6 Yugas, but the precession of the equinox is built on only 23.5 degree Earth tilt, zodiac sign, which is zodiac science, which is created by the Niberian Beast people, and the Fibonacci false signs, keeping us locked in a false cycle, which also corresponds to the Mayan calendar, which corresponds to the precession of the equinoxes cycle. It's all built on the wrong foundations. It's not going to help us if we want to exit the time cycles. Now, indigos are known to be masters of the grid. they carry that in their DNA, and they're here to correct grid works and reset them back to their original construct. The original calendar that was ever made was about shield accretion. The sun was a portal that brought in its frequency from the galactic shield for the ascension of humans. It contained mathematical formulas to track all the yugas. Nowadays, our calendars are all about public holidays and, and what's aligned to the zodiacs and precession of the equinoxes. So it's a completely false time cycle, keeping us stuck, in this infinite time loop. The Ark of the Covenant gates saved the planet from the possibility of a second pole shift. The Guardians opened the Ark of the Covenant gates to allow the ascension of planets that hold the base 6 instead of the usual base 12, because normally you'd need a base 12 for the Stargate, but they opened it for a base 6 potential. Otherwise, if it was a 12, the whole system would have fallen and we would have ended into a pole shift and down the black hole system, which would have been a virus in the universal systems. So going home is essentially going back to the Eka system. And if it weren't for the Ark of the Covenant gate system, Earth would have gone down a massive cataclysmic pole shift and down into the black hole. So some people are saying, why didn't the pole shift happen? It's because the Ark of the Covenant gates. The Guardians activated the Arks of the Covenant, which allowed for the base 6 planets to go through these gates and ascend instead of go down the fallen matrix. If that had happened, it would have been pulled down the whole matrix system. We all would have been in that matrix system and fallen matrix system. So we, the indigos, humans, when we wake up and activate our flame bodies, our Merkabas, and anchor in these Christic frequencies, we return to our original Equinox matrix that we fell from some 350 billion years ago by riding the Christic arcs out of this time matrix. To do that, we have to catch those frequencies and the waves, the correct waves of those arcs. Like I elaborated before, we need the correct organic arcs, not the 8 arcs and the ones that suck us into a Wizardek and Wizardrak system. So we're here for that Christos realignment mission. The Paladorian rescue mission is to restore the grids via our organic Merkabas and universal Merkabas of the D12 and D13 to allow the transmission flow of the Aquiferian, the Aurora, the Aquaribendi, Aquiline, and Crystal River collective to fuel the arc energy to the Shala 13 gates here for Eartha ascension, Earth Aquial Starfire activations in 2047. Which, like I said, going through this 2047 ascension cycle is going to lead us back to the original Equinox matrix from where we fell. There'll be a bridge zone, but there'll be also the full for those who are activated enough. This is literally a journey back home. It is how I see it. It's like akin to a mother and father, or just the mother, or just the father, but they've lost their they have a long lost child who the child supposedly got into a little bit of trouble and fell in the wrong hands. The arc energies are like the prayers, the love of the mother and father who never lost hope of their child returning back to them one day. And instead of severing that energetic connection, they continue to reach out to their child and extend him the love and care that kept renewing itself. And they never lost hope. And finally, the child heeds the wake-up call, hears the words, and decides to return to his parents, leaving everything he knew be real behind. And it's the same thing. The Creator did not leave us. We left the Creator after we went through a time period of amnesia. This is, on a cosmic level, is but a moment in time. To us, it seems like forever, billions and billions, but it's just a blink of an eye on a grand cosmic scale. Now we are being reset, not the great global reset of the WEF, but the real reset concerning the return of our original pre-birth, Kathara template that has returned to us. So we're able to access that and regenerate and flow back to source. So it's a great time to be here, and just know that if you are going through some difficulty right now, you're not the only one. It's quite normal. In fact, while the two agendas of the Great Global Reset and the Universal Cosmic Clock Reset, they're playing out diametrically and with equal force. They actually playing out both at the same time, that sometimes it's hard to tell which is which. And then we're being deceived by this whole savior programming. Someone's going to save you. Someone's going to save you. And then people sit there and just wait for the savior that doesn't show up. And there's this Armageddon battle happening. There's this duality programming, the divide and conquer. It's stronger than ever. It's a very strong push. That's because opposite to that, and diametrical to that, there is an equal force as well happening, and we're getting those Rishite pillars, the Hitharo, the energies from the Eka levels are being anchored, and they know about them. They know about what's happening, but they don't want to be on the same arcs as we do. So the one where where we're on right now is the cosmic clock reset, universal cosmic clock reset. It is not a finite one, it is a lifeline. But their one is the Great Global Reset, which is the, put us all in cages and create smart cities and things like that. And this is a fight for them that they have to win, because if they don't, that's it for them. It is a fight for them to own everything and not be happy. That's to possess the grids. They want to possess the grids, and they want to stay in their finite system. They don't want to join us on eternal life mission. They want to stay in their own finite system, but they want to use us to lose on our energy, on our life force, because they can't sustain themselves for too long on a phase lock Merkaba, 55 spin or charge Merkaba. So yeah, that's what we're seeing here. It's a perfect example of two things happening with full force but totally opposite. And at one point we were actually met at that point where the two were, you could be standing next to somebody who's completely phased 55 charge Merkaba while you're on 45 organic Merkaba. Their reality is different to your reality, completely different. They're experiencing life differently to you, completely different. They could be, feeling like they're victims. They've been dealt hard in life, and they've been, battered, and all that's okay. Like, sometimes we do go through that, but we need to realize that we can't stay in that same old victim mentality. We can't be on the same mindset if we want to change things in our reality. We can't be on that same mindset. We can't use the same methods and means to correct our life, to correct things around us, if we're using the same old tools that we know don't work. Like, you can't just go fight with people to get what you want. It's not that anymore. We have to hold ourselves with dignity and you know, we need to really activate. That's bottom line comes to that, is how activated you are, what your frequency is, because we don't have to be like all loving all the time, but we do have to have a big heart and understand that not everyone is on that eternal spiral, and that's okay. If you're angry about this, well, the Creator's not angry about this. You know, we had the free will to choose, and they chose their path. We chose our bright path of the Creator. So it's just a choice. It comes down to choices. The best we can do is shine our light and walk with our flame activated. So I want to do a new podcast, a new segment, and talk about those flame body and talk about the experience that you can get out of them. And it's based on also personal experience, because we don't really know a lot about the techniques. We know they were given, but we don't know like what they actually really do. We know that they activate us, but you know, apart from that, we haven't got a lot of experience with them, and people haven't come out and said, well, this is what happened with me and things like that. So I want to start this discussion because I think it's important, and share some tips and techniques and tools that have not yet been, are not out there yet. So coming back to this particular segment, these topics that I've been talking about, the last one will be a part 3, and I'll go again deeper into the same topics. And when that's done, I'll start a new topic, a completely new topic, and I'll just keep getting more and more interesting. Okay, we might go into the codes, the techniques, the sons as well, like Son of Lyra, Son of Aurora, you know, and many other sons that are important to activate your shield. And but I have to cover some groundwork first, because we want to know where we're going and why we're doing this. So we'll just flow with this and see where it takes us. It's, to be honest, for me and Matt, it's an intuitive process, and it flows. It's not always planned ahead of time. Okay, all in good time. There's no rush. It's a journey in which we can bear witness to this beautiful unfoldment. It's precious, it's sacred. And when something's so precious and sacred, you have to give it time. It can't be rushed. And it's a note to self as well. A nice affirmation that I like to often make is, I am the living lotus, sacredly unfolding beyond the limitations of time and space. I am the living lotus, sacredly unfolding beyond limitations of time and space. It's something I like to often remind myself with and make. Before I end this segment, if you can just bear with me till the end, that would be great, because I just want to say a few things here to wrap it up. If you found this segment beneficial, I hope you have. I just want to make a mention of one thing. Please know that we are learning and growing with you as well. So we don't actually have all the answers to absolutely everything. So it's always do your own research. We merely here presenting this knowledge, elaborating on some points and making interpretations of certain things. And every now and then we do get something wrong, you know, and we try and rectify it the next time around, but we're doing our best to share and create, and that's our lifelong mission. In saying this, we truly appreciate your donations, and it's helping us grow. Like last month, we purchased a new camera, a projector, and a few other things so we can connect better and clearer with you all. And we actually have big plans to do some of this in person, so we can begin disconnecting from the Metatronic technology, because nothing's better than connecting in person, and I'm sure you appreciate that. It's a lot more genuine and personal. So we hope to run retreats, do universal grid clearings. We might start with Australia, clearing the grid works, And we're going to do a few things as well in collaboration with people like Jamie, Chantel, and others who are proactively guiding this whole movement and doing the Christic work, the proper work. So please do support as much as you can. You can click on the thanks below and donate whatever you like. You know, there's no judgment here. It's just to help us out, because we really want to bring all the information out, all of it. We also like to acknowledge that we see you and we love that you're communicating on a heart level with us. Super encouraging and powerful, giving us that fuel that we need to continue this work. And Matt would actually love to come on and start his talks about things he's very passionate about, like, you know, shielding techniques, detoxing program, building communities, growing communities, things like that. He's into common law, you know, breaking from the system, things like that. So it's super helpful information if you are really passionate about disconnecting from the matrix, which we highly recommend. Like, we have not completely disconnected, but we're working on it. There's a lot of time we forget we're living in the matrix, and when we get for example, get an official letter in the mail from like a government or something, and we're like, it just looks strange to us, because it's like, you know, we're not used to seeing it as much as we did, say, you know, 15 years ago. So it's just really amazing. So continue to do your work and cause those glitches in the matrix. Our job is so big right now, and I was talking before about Matt's work and how he does the background stuff, and way harder than my job, to be honest. So on top of that, Matt's still trying to find a way to disseminate or otherwise recreate Ash's eclipse, because we're not giving up on those. They were taken down, and we're sitting right now on 2 strikes, so we can't risk it. It's another 3 months, and then, you know, we get them back. So yeah, speaking of reversals, those in control that really want to take down the indigo shield, so it's pretty, yeah, that's what they're trying to do. So anyway, this brings this segment to an end, and I'm just purposely trying to keep them between 45 minutes and 1 hour max, so that, you know, you have time to watch them and listen to them while, like, you know, driving to work or whatever. So we have one more topic to go, one more segment to go on this topic, and then we'll go on to another one. In the meantime, stay well and stay blessed, and see you next time, Divine Souls. See you later.